I want to tell you a quick story. I was chief of staff to Governor Blunt, and Jay Nixon hated me. But he hated one guy more, and that was Kurt Schaefer. And we were negotiating, this is a true story, we were negotiating a deal with the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General's people said, we'll talk to anyone except Kurt Schaefer, don't send him over. So that's a sign of real progress, and he's been a great state senator, protecting our Second Amendment rights and taking care of our families, and he's a good friend of mine, Senator Kurt Schaefer. Senator.
I sat right next to Matt Blunt, and as soon as Governor Nixon opened his mouth at the time Attorney General, I leaned in and I answered his question for him. And believe me, he was not happy. I want to thank Ed. I've worked with Ed. If you want to tear it up, have Ed on your team. Look how many people we have here today. And this event is a great idea. I want to thank Ed. Welcome to the 19th Senate District, which is where you are here in Columbia. And who would have thought that in November, when I got re-elected to this Senate seat, I would be the first Republican ever to serve 2 terms from this Senate seat. So that shows you the power of what we can do when we organize. There are several people in this room who I would not be standing here without their hard work. But it shows what you can do when you put it together. Just like Tom said, you know, we could have had a better showing in the last cycle statewide. And there's one thing that everyone needs to know, and the committee members, you know this, behind the scenes there is a tremendous effort to be organized, to work together, to make sure that in 14 and especially in 16, we field great teams and we take this state back. So everyone needs to be aware of that. I do want to mention one thing. We had a very positive session in the Senate this year, and in my capacity as the chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, and this was about 4 months ago, we were at the forefront of what you are seeing now from the federal government. And that is 4 months ago, in my capacity as the chairman of Appropriations, we found out that the Department of Revenue was gathering intelligence, gathering information on Missouri citizens, and sharing the concealed carry list with the federal government, and basically doing all those things that are outside the rule of law they had no authority to do. And when we found that out, I was the first state senator since Jay Nixon was a senator in 1991 to issue subpoenas to the Department of Revenue and to the Federal Social Security Agency and make them come into a Senate hearing and testify under oath to us on what they did. And we found out, that's how we found out, that Revenue is violating state law by gathering personal information, taking your biometrics, sharing that with the federal government, sharing the concealed carry list. But if you don't have the right people in the right place, Tom is a good example, and we've got many others. And Ed worked on this when he was with Governor Blunt. It's a never-ending visual. And I will tell you, as a former prosecutor, there is nothing acceptable about state bureaucrats violating the rule of law. And we have never seen, from state government to the federal government, I have never seen it more pervasive than we see right now. That's why those elections coming up are so important, to make sure that you've got the fighters where you need them, because you know, just as Roy said, it doesn't pass along in the bloodstream. You have to fight for it every day, every year, every generation. We've got great candidates for both 14 and 16. We're all working together as a cohesive group. I think that's an excellent message. We have a tremendous group of candidates. I want to thank everybody for being here in the 19th Senate District, and I look forward to seeing you more in the future. Thank you very much.